Welcome, Tanglers. Sorry, I'm just getting back to you. I have had a break, a much needed break, to get a lot of my yard work done, getting my flowers put down and leaves raked and burned, and just all the things that go with having a yard. I'm sure you understand.
That yummy?
So I am now just getting back. We've got a cold, rainy day today, and it's a perfect day to show you what I'm doing with my final piece from Inktober Tangles. I'm not done with it yet. I love it, and I love it so much that I want to frame it. But before I just frame it as is, I'm going to do a little bit of a treatment to it that is something you can use in many different ways, for card making, for journaling, for scrapbooking, and I'm calling it treasure map treatment. So this is what it's going to look like right here, right? These are just some samples that I was working up when I was sketching up my ideas for Inktober Tangles. And so I'm going to show you this in a small way because I can't fit my bigger piece under the camera. But I'm going to do the exact same thing to it, and this is what I'm going to do. What you're going to need is, from the same supply list that we had, you're going to need a sepia colored pencil, Prismacolor. You're going to need a light umber, Prismacolor, and then my favorite brown ochre from Faber Castell, Polychromos. I'm also going to use my colorless Copic blender, colorless blender. I have my Faber Castell pencil sharpener on hand. I love this one. What I'm going to be doing is taking my final piece and tearing around the edges of all of the work that I've done. And then I'm going to color them and put them on a Davy board that I'm going to show you how I treated with Lindy's shaker dies. You can treat that Davy board with anything, with watercolor, with tea stain, coffee stain. I just love the Lindy's die dies, and I have an extra tutorial on that I'll link also in this. But so this is the look we're going for in a very small size, but I'll show you how I do that. Let's just take this piece right here. I've already started cutting around. Not cutting, I'm using my hands to tear these edges. And so this got a little close, but that's because there was something else here. But if you don't want to get too close to your work, make sure you keep the ball of your thumb down so that you can't tear into the area that you want. Paper tearing is a bit of an art, and I've done quite a bit of it for some other kind of artsy projects I do. So just get rid of that. And I don't like this really sharp edge here, so I'm going to do that to it. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. Oh, I could have a little bit closer. There, just tear into it until you get what you want. And then on a scrap piece of paper, I'm just going to use the back of my sketchbook pad. It looks very much like the Davy board that I'm going to be using. We're going to start with our lighter colored pencil, which is the light brown or the brown ochre. And we're just going to apply that colored pencil at the very edge of this torn paper. You can also use things like distress ink oxide or distress, you know, the Ranger inks with a little pad and do your edges like that. But I get the most control out of this. And once again, for the richness, I'm going to layer it up. So make sure that whatever you're drawing on is not something you want to keep. This has just got to be scrap underneath. And we're just going to delineate those edges with our first color. And then I'm going to go with my next color, which is light umber. And I'm really holding my hand way far back here so that I have a light touch. And I'm doing a sort of light circular elliptical stroke. It's going to take you a while because our piece is quite large. It's the size of this whole sketch pad. But I just enjoy the mindlessness of this and just trying to finesse my stroke. It's very, very zen. And then finally, what do you think we're going to do next? We're going to take our darkest, which is sepia, and we're going to do the same thing and go over the top of all of that. Really trying to stay more towards the edges. Even if you just did the sepia, it would be enough. But I like what's going to happen when we put our blender on. These colors are going to bleed and kind of blend, and we're going to see each of them a little bit. So I like more what's going on here. So I'm going to add a little bit more of my brown ochre on the areas where there isn't so much like that. Of course, brown ochre is lighter than the other two colors, and if you put lighter colored pencil on top of the darker ones, you're going to get an automatic burnishing effect. Okay, now I'm ready to take out my colorless blender, and I'm going to use the tinier tip. Always clean before you start. I'm going to blend towards the ripped edges. Now this is looking really dark up here, but it's gonna dry. That's just from the solvent. Isn't that fun? And then when you're done with that, you'll be gluing your piece onto your color treated background, your Davy board. Davy board is this heavy bookbinder's board. It's just written like Davy, and I love it. You can use other cardboard that you have, like the back of a sketchbook if you have an old sketchbook that you don't need. So that's this part of our treasure map treatment, and I'll be back to show you. Work. So that is what we're aiming for, that kind of a dirty, buried under the ground kind of background. Okay. So here's my final Inktober Tangle piece with the straight edges. And now take a look at it with the treasure map treatment. Isn't that, I love that. I think it's so much better. I did get a beautiful frame that I love, really very inexpensive at like the Home Depot, the equivalent of Home Depot here. But it's a little bit large and they didn't have the next size down. So in any case, it'll be perfect to hang in my barn studio. So rustic. Well, I hope you will have fun and try this out, even if it's not on your Inktober Tangles piece, but maybe on something else that you want to experiment with. You can also tangle around on your background, which I thought of doing as well. So there's some ideas for you. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel and join me on my website, please. I will see you when I see you next time. We've got lots of visitors coming and lots of things going on in life right now, but I will try to be back soon. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.